Your favorite Norwegian podcast is back. Bjørn er best, or Bjørn is the best, is a Norwegian podcast about wrestling, where we talk about wrestling, of course, but also watch a wrestling match together with our listeners. You may be wondering why I'm speaking English today. This podcast is usually in Norwegian. The reason is that we have an international guest with us today, namely the host of the Danish wrestling podcast, The Wrestler and the Nerds, eller Wrestleren og Nerdene. We'll ask him later how you pronounce it in Danish. Norwegian and Danish are two languages with many similarities, but we still decided to do this talk in English so that international listeners also can enjoy this episode. And in this episode, we are going to give you our Wrestlemania 40 predictions. My name is Anders Holstad Lilleng. I am the host of Bjørn er best, but the star of this podcast, Bjørn er best, is one of Norway's best wrestlers. And his name is Bjørn Sem.
That's me. Hey, I'm doing a podcast in English for the second time in my life ever. The first one was a very small wrestling podcast in the United States of America for a relatively unknown podcaster who suddenly contacted me and wanted me to be a guest on his podcast. Hopefully this will go as well as our podcasts usually do. And I want to say thank you to Anders for arranging this. And welcome to Nikolai, who is our guest. Nikolai, do you want to say a couple of words about yourself so that our audience, who may not know who you are, actually get to know something about you? And I have a confession. I have a confession to make. I am the reason why this is in English, because I unfortunately do not understand the spoken word of Danish. So sorry about that, everybody, but I hope you will enjoy this podcast anyways. Now, Nikolai, your introduction, please.
And first of all, thank you, Anders and Bjørn, for having me on the podcast. It's such a pleasure, and it's always a pleasure for me to talk about wrestling, and also with someone who probably has not the same opinion as me. We experienced that when I heard your latest episode. But just a little bit about myself and the team behind the Wrestlers and Nerds podcast, because we are actually doing a rebranding at the moment. So that's why the new name and the new logo will come up eventually. But we are at the moment, we are 5 guys, some wrestlers and some nerds. And we do a lot of different stuff on our podcast. We do analysis of WWE, Premier Live events. We do focus interviews. We do focus episodes about specific wrestlers. Sting is coming up later on, The Rock, Roman Reigns, and so on. So we just want to give our love for wrestling back to everyone who wants to listen, to be a little bit brief. So I'll make it brief, or else I'll just talk the first 20 minutes or so. But again, thank you so much for having me.
Nikolai, in your most recent podcast, you talked about your favorite WrestleMania matches. What is your favorite WrestleMania match?
Oh, my favorite one of all time is from WrestleMania 17. And there's no doubt about that, because that match is so unique because of the double turn of Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Hitman Bret Hart. That match has everything. Actually, if you want to show a wrestling match to someone, I think that one is it. Yeah, no, Bjørn. I actually expected you to disagree, so.
Well, actually, I don't disagree with the decision of which match you picked. I disagree with which WrestleMania it was on, because that was WrestleMania 13.
Sorry, 13. Sorry. Yeah.
So, and by the way, a wonderful match.
The 17 was Steve Austin and The Rock.
Yeah.
quite true. Absolutely. No. I mean, I make mistakes constantly, and at some point in future, we're probably just gonna make a whole episode of me recanting mistakes I've made throughout all our episodes until now. Sometime in future, but we have to research every episode so that I can find all the mistakes I've made. So don't worry about that, Nikolai, because we all make small mistakes like that. And there has been 39 WrestleManias. That's a lot to keep track of. And there's a lot of matches throughout all the WrestleManias. I have to put Bret Hart as my favorite wrestler of all time. And that was one of his best matches of all time. I still say that, in my opinion, Bret Hart versus Steve Austin is on the same exact level as Bret versus Owen, which I put they're my two favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. And that anybody could ever have a better match than Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 3, I would not have believed when I was a kid. But
that was actually my
it happened.
3 on the list.
Yeah.
So that was your number 3, Nikolai. That was your number 3.
Ricky the Dragon and Macho Man Randy Savage.
So was
storytelling 101 in that match.
So was Bret Hart versus Owen Hart your number 2?
No, it was actually Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Both really, really good. I prefer the first one, but both of those matches were fantastic.
Yeah.
I totally agree with Bjørn, and my number 4, I think, is going to be Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre from last year. It was amazing.
And I was actually there to see it live.
Ooh.
Cool.
I've never seen a WrestleMania live. I have got to go at some point in future. But we're agreeing too much, guys. We have to start disagreeing here. Yeah. We have to start fighting. This is a wrestling podcast.
Don't you worry. When we comes to prediction, I'm sure that we will have a verbal interaction or a fight. So don't you worry.
I've got one more question before we start with our predictions, Nikolai. How was it to experience WrestleMania live?
Well, I could put a lot of words to describe it, but one word that would actually say that one of maybe the best jobbers in the business at the moment. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So it was awesome. The feeling, I had my youngest son with me, and we were so fortunate actually that we started our WrestleMania weekend with Stand and Deliver early in the morning. We were invited by some people that I met through the podcast environment. And then we went on to SoFi Stadium to see WrestleMania day 1 and then day 2 the next day. So it was out of this world. So
fantastic. Yeah. Let's start with our first match, and that is Io Sky versus Bayley. Nikolai, you go first.
Well, there has been quite of interesting build-up to this match, because I think if you look first, Bayley is probably getting what she deserved, or actually that's what Bianca Belair said on the last SmackDown. But we have here two very, very different styles of wrestling, actually. Io Sky, the high flyer, and Bayley, the more grounded wrestler, a more mat-based wrestling. And I think, actually, that Io Sky will retain here, even though everything points at Bayley should go over. But I think that Bayley has got a lot of beating, but I can't see why Bayley should win this. I know a lot of the storytelling towards this match points at Bailey winning, but maybe when we go deep into some of the other predictions, you have to have some of the champions retaining. You can't have 4 or 5 championships shifting on a WrestleMania, because a lot of the other matches point at a new champion.
Bjørn, tar du mikrofonen litt vekk fra ansiktet? Litt ut?
Jeg er helt enig i at Io Sky kommer til å...
Bjørn, vi tar det på engelsk. So, Bjørn,
no, hey, they were speaking in English and then they were speaking in Norwegian, and suddenly I switched over to Norwegian in the break there. But actually, I completely agree that Io Sky will probably retain the championship, because Io Sky has gotten a huge underground cult following. She is a fantastic high flyer, but I think she's actually even better at the ground technical wrestling than she is at the high flying. They have even given her the name Sky, so I mean they're concentrating on her flying abilities, but she has a certain it factor, a charisma, and I think WWE knows about that charisma. I think they know about that. People follow her and are interested in her, and as you mentioned, Bailey, she's kind of at the spot she's at. She will not lose anything by losing that match, and she wouldn't gain anything by winning that match. Not much anyway. She fits in a high-profile match at WrestleMania because she is that good, and I think the mystique with Io Sky will give WWE the idea to keep the championship on Io Sky. I hope they keep her in interesting matches going forward. I hope they keep her in some storylines going forward. And I love her as a heel. I think in NXT, they tried to make her a babyface and concentrate more on the high flying than she had been doing for a while as a heel. And I think they found out that was a mistake. She fits better as a heel. She is a wonderful heel. And she even, I think she gets a better crowd reaction even as a heel than she does as a face. So I think this will be one of the stronger matches on the card. I'm really looking forward to this, since Io Sky is one of my favorite female wrestlers, and Bailey is also high on my list.
But Bjørn, actually, when you saw the Premier Live event in Puerto Rico, Io Sky actually got a great pop, being, even though she was a heel in that match. So I think actually all the build up, all the momentum that she got started rolling at that Premier Live event. I always say pay-per-view. Why shouldn't they move it back to that name? It's much more easier saying than Premier Live event. That's too long. But I think actually, if you see Io Sky, they need now to move her. If they should keep her interesting going forward, they need her to be moved away from Bailey to create some other faction. That could be Naomi, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, or something like that. But they need someone new to feud with instead of Bailey, so they could get her sidelined to keep it interesting and character development, because she has been such attached to Bailey for a very long time.
I agree with all your arguments, gentlemen, but I disagree with your prediction. I think because of the story, they're going to give the championship to Bailey, because the story with Damage Control and Bailey was interesting in the beginning, and then the Japanese, she understands Japanese bit was put into the story, and it kind of fell. But the problem is that everything is about The Rock now, so every other storylines are overshadowed in a way by The Rock and that storyline. But I think Bailey, because I think it's better that Damage Control they could hunt for her belt. Oh, that would be no. They could hunt for her, or they could go after her belt. That's a better story. Damage Control going after Bailey than Bailey going after Damage Control. So I think Bailey.
Interesting. Well,
in stereo.
We'll find out. Yeah. We really need to disagree more, guys.
Yeah.
But at least Anders has a different take than me and Nikolai on who's going to win the match. I'm thinking that at some point, Damage Control. There are 4 women in Damage Control right now. I think that they're going to kick someone out, and I think that whoever they're going to kick out, Dakota Kai, is going to ask for forgiveness from Bailey, and that's going to be a story going forward. So that's my prediction anyway.
Next match?
That's a really classic one, Bjørn, because they have teased it, then she backstabbed Bailey, but could she eventually come back, because they don't really want Dakota Kai in there as well. But we'll see. I could buy into that.
And I don't think that WWE has used Dakota Kai to her potential. I've seen a lot of Dakota Kai from back both before she became part of WWE and when she was in NXT. And she is actually a really, really good female wrestler. I think they could use her in a more prominent position that could elevate her. That kind of a storyline could elevate her to that position.
And in general, Bjørn, they actually need to elevate more female wrestlers in WWE because that's a very thin roster. They don't have that many stars that you could put up against the superstars that you have on the roster.
They have a few that could get there without question, but for some odd reason, WWE don't push very many of the females, so that you have a thin female roster who are actually you can consider as stars. The others are just kind of lower mid card, basically.
And actually now I have to take one of your hot takes on Tiffany Stratton. I could not resist. That was actually Jonas calling her a legend. I think it was a little bit overdue, even though she has the potential. There, I agree with you again. She has the potential to be a superstar because she has the look, she has the charisma, she has a trademark that's so important with the Tiffy time that she does that. She has that thing. So, but sorry, Anders, you have to control me, because then I will go in every
no
direction.
Problem.
Talking
two
wrestling.
Hosts. The wrestler and the 2 hosts. That's excellent. Let's go to the next match, and that is Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Bjørn, you can start.
Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Well, Becky's been the man. She's been the man for a long time, and I cannot believe that WWE would not push for Rhea Ripley further. The only reason they could have for putting Becky Lynch to win this match and win the title would be for making it an even bigger rematch afterwards. So actually, I think Rhea Ripley's going to take it. and go on to another feud. I think the tension built up between Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch has been big enough and gone on for long enough. I don't think they're going to go for a series of matches on this one. This is not to take anything from Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has been maybe at one point even the biggest, not even just female, but star in WWE. But right now, and for a long time, Rhea Ripley has been on fire, and she is on fire, and push her to the moon and give her some opponents in future as well that she can tear down the house with. This also is a match I'm really looking forward to. I think Becky Lynch has lost a step or two, but she's still good. And I think this is going to be a really cool match. And if you looked at the last pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber, and you could see the match between Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley pulled a better match out of Nia Jax than I've ever seen from Nia Jax. I've never seen Nia Jax perform anywhere close to as good. So I think that I think that Rhea Ripley actually, she might be the best female wrestler on earth right now, and she has a wonderful it factor. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Nikolai?
As I could give a little bit of perspective on what you're saying, Bjørn, because I think Mommy will always be on top. So that's so that points it out a little bit. And again, Bjørn, I'm actually starting to get a little bit worried because I cannot see them taking the belt off of Rhea at the moment because she has everything going for her, and Becky is such a huge star. She doesn't need a championship belt to be relevant, but they need to push Rhea the last bit up, even though she is huge and she is a star now. If she's going to get all the way up where Becky Lynch is and considered a superstar, she needs this win over Becky Lynch to be solidified as a superstar on the roster. She is good, she is great, but she's not there just yet, and she will be after beating Becky Lynch. Because I think also one thing that'll be very interesting, because it's two very powerful wrestlers. Even though Rhea Ripley has everything going for her, the riptide, it looks devastating when she does it, actually. I think it's a fantastic move for Rhea. It points on everything that she's good at, power moves, everything. I'm looking forward to see when Rhea will get, probably she will get pushed to her limits. And I hope that they give this match enough time, have it start out slowly to build it up to the right climax where Rhea eventually gives Becky Lynch the riptide. So I'm have no doubts that Rhea will retain, but it will be a fantastic match, no doubt about that. Because I think those two wrestlers are very good together in the ring.
I totally disagree. I totally agree. Sorry, I totally agree. I wanted to disagree,
Totally
but I totally agree. It's going to be Rhea Ripley. But let's do in the last episode, in the previous episode, we did some fantasy booking. We tried to find the wrestler who could take Günther's belt. Let's say that Rhea has the title for 1 year from now. Which wrestler could they build up to take the title from her? Tiffany Stratton? Like on WrestleMania 41? Could that be a wrestler? Or do you have any other suggestions?
I don't think Tiffany, she needs more time to build up to be on that level, to give it credibility that she takes the belt off Rhea Ripley. You have to have someone that's maybe you do not expect her, but it could be. And now I don't think it could be Bianca Belair because she has that type of power. She has the power, the moves, the charisma. She has everything. She's been sidelined a little bit. I think it's very good that she isn't up there competing for championships at the moment. You put her a little bit on the sideline, start building her up, maybe give her the victory in the Royal Rumble, and then she's ready to be strapped with a rocket on her back to go and take the belt off Rhea Ripley next year. Because, she's a fantastic wrestler, Bianca Belair. So that's my pick if I should pick one to take the belt off.
Bianca Belair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair is a wonderful pick. If Asuka was the Asuka she was about 7 years ago, I would pick her. But when we had the Gunther challenge, Janish, you told me I could pick anyone from all over the world. So that's where my mind went. And my mind went to, well, instead of picking someone who's on the roster, pick someone who kind of comes out of nowhere, comes out of absolutely nothing, and then you build, well, this person has built a huge name for themselves outside of the WWE, and now we've finally gotten this star. And the star that I'm talking about, the person, the wrestler, which would be in my opinion, fantastic champion in WWE, just as she was in AEW, is Hayter. Yeah.
But do you think she will ever get to wrestle again?
I really hope so, because I'm a huge fan of hers. She was so wonderful in the ring. She lifted the women's division for Tony Khan, and if she doesn't get back in the ring, she did leave a huge legacy, in my opinion. But if she does get back into the ring and can perform as well as she did, if she's on that level, that would be a dream match, her and Rhea Ripley.
What about the What about the rusty Volvo from the 80s, Naomi? Hot take from the
that can be a match, but she shouldn't take the title. That could be a match on Raw. That could be a Raw main event or a SmackDown main event or something like that. I wouldn't even put that on a pay-per-view. I'd put it on one other weekly programs, but it's big enough that it can main event that weekly program.
So Ripley.
Yeah.
Any more comments, Nikolai?
No, I'll keep some for later.
Oh, great.
Good.
So the next match we're going to talk about is Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Nikolai.
I can say it very, very precise and short. He's going to chop the hell out of Sami Zayn. Yeah. Sami Zayn is a great underdog. He is great at playing exactly the role, and that's why he's put in this match. He's going to have a great match. He can set up. He's going to have a great comeback within the match, coming back, trying to build up a belief to the audience that he will take the belt off of Gunther, and eventually Gunther will powerbomb him and put his hand or cover him, and then 1, 2, 3. I think it'll be a good match because we have a lot of things going on. We have Sami Zayn. He has this, as I said before, underdog story. He is an interesting wrestler. He has built up a lot of momentum. It's fading a little bit at the moment, but let's see. I think, no doubt, Gunther will retrain. Sami Zayn is not the person to take the belt off of him.
I don't understand this match because I would have preferred Gunther versus Shorty G. His name is
Chad Gable.
Chad Gable, or
yeah.
maybe Chad Gable. I think it's part of a story. Something is going to happen at WrestleMania with Chad Gable and Sami Zayn and Gunther. Something is going to happen because I don't understand that match, and I also vote for Gunther. Bjørn?
Everybody votes for Günther. And from the rumors I've heard, it was supposed to be Brock Lesnar versus Günther. And then they put in Sami Zayn because, well, they can't use Brock Lesnar anymore, obviously. So because of all the problems with the sex scandal and Vince McMahon. And I completely agree with that. And so good old dependable Sami Zayn gets put in instead, and he can make a great underdog story, just like Nikolai said. But of course, they're not going to put the title on Sami Zayn. And Sami, in my opinion, is kind of either or. He's either great, fantastic storyteller, or he gets a little bit too much into his wrestling bubble, wrestling head, and only wants to do kind of spot fest matches, which is when I kind of lose interest in him. But if he has a story that he can tell, that he can sink his teeth into, like he did with the Bloodline, like he did with Cesaro, then that can be great. And with a fantastic storyteller as his opponent, as Günther is, then this match should be, as a match, we're not going to be excited about finding out who wins, because that's a given. But as a match, it's probably going to be a wonderful story told.
And that's spot on, Bjørn, because I think it's so important that this story, this match tells a story within the match, because there's not much of a story going towards the build-up of this match. You have to tell the story within this match, and that's why you put those two together, because you believe as a promoter, as a booker, that they can deliver exactly what you expect.
Yep.
But Bjørn, you mentioned Brock Lesnar. In the Royal Rumble, Braun Breaker was kind of the Brock Lesnar of that match. Why didn't they use Braun Breaker for this match? Is it too early?
Yeah, it is, because if they would have put Braun Breaker in this match, then to not derail Braun Breaker as he's coming into the main roster, they would have had to have Braun Breaker win the title. Otherwise, he would have just had like a DQ finish or a count out finish and not really started his main roster run with any momentum. And you don't want you want Günther to stay undefeated right now. There's no reason to take that away from Günther right now. So, although I think down the line we're going to see Günther in a program with Braun Breaker, and I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe next year's WrestleMania or something, we'll have that match. That could be a match to really look forward to, because I think that can elevate Braun Breaker and be one of Gunther's masterpiece matches, but to not start Braun Breaker off on a bad note, because even though the match will be fantastic, starting him off as the kind of gimmick he is, or performer he is, or person he is, this unstoppable force, starting him off with anything except a clean win would be a bad idea. I think they're going to bring him into the main roster on the first Raw after WrestleMania, or first SmackDown after WrestleMania, because that's very often when they introduce new people from NXT or any other developmental system they've had throughout the years.
Nikolai?
Yeah, one thing that I could actually see maybe that could give the Gunther Imperium faction a little bit of twist, that's Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci eventually turning on Gunther. And maybe you'll build up some matches for Gunther going forward against maybe one of those two to give it a little bit of a twist if you want to elevate Gunther up to the main title picture as a world champion, because I think he should be put up there eventually. And you could maybe use that if you want to have him turn as a face eventually. I don't think he will work that good as a face, but I think you should keep him as a heel. But you could do something like that, or you will hear the Beast's music on the Raw after. Because is he gone? Is he not gone from the roster?
That's basically the problem with doing that story, is that you would have to turn him face. And also he would lose his entourage. They might actually do that. They might try him out as a face. This is very much something that WWE might actually try. They've done similar things earlier with other top stars that are monster performers and are really popular heels. But I agree with you that Gunther would work best as a heel, and I think they should not fuck with a fantastic formula that we right now have with Gunther. And keeping the entourage on heel Gunther, I think, is a really good idea.
Yes, because Bjørn, actually.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, because actually we need some factions at the moment in WWE, and we don't have a lot of them. So I totally agree on that. Keep those together so we have someone that could go around beating up people.
Yeah, and the only thing I disagree with WWE on the way they've used the faction, the Imperium faction, is that they haven't kept Kaiser and Vinci stronger. They, in my opinion, they should have been a lot harder to beat than they have been. Right now, they're kind of just flunkies. They tried for a little while to do something with Kaiser, but they need to be also seen as threats, kind of like the Bloodline, where even though obviously the leader of the Bloodline is the monster of the three. Now 4 with The Rock, but I'm not counting The Rock in this scenario. Both the others are not seen as simple to beat. they're not looked upon as just job guys. They're also high on the roster. I think the same thing should be done with Imperium, where they have a different feel than the Bloodline, but for the faction to look as strong as possible, you need the two lower people in the faction also to be strong and well, a high card tag team. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't totally agree on that, because if you look at someone like Solo Sikoa, who has been built up strong in the past, and now he's just on a very long losing streak. So I don't think that he looks that strong, and the same goes for Jimmy as well. So, but we'll take that when we come to the Bloodline.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that they haven't been booked strong lately, but to start them off, they were built really strong. Yeah, and Kaiser and Vinci never actually became anything else than just the entourage. They are a tag team. They are wrestlers, but they don't look really dangerous.
But I thought they missed an opportunity when they had Ludwig Kaiser teasing something with Maxine Dupree. They were building some tensions up there between the Alpha Academy and Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, because it put a rift in between the Imperium faction. So that was an interesting storyline, but they dropped it on the floor or something like that because they didn't continue building on that story. So
absolutely true. And I think that, well, in my opinion, anyway, this might not be the way WWE thinks, but that the only performer in Alpha Academy that can actually go out there and get the job really done is Gable. So I mean, I've got nothing against Otis, but yeah, I think that they weren't Alpha Academy weren't high enough on the card. They weren't interesting enough for a big feud with Imperium.
no.
Yeah.
So our predictions are Günther, and Günther. I wrote Sami Zayn here. What happened? Let's see. Günther. I wrote Sami Zayn on all three of us. What the hell happened? Okay.
Are you okay, Anders?
Yeah, I think, probably not.
Okay.
Something's wrong. I think it's because it's Eastern. Oh, we have to say, before we talk about the next match, we are recording this on Wednesday, 27th of March. So there may be added more matches to the card. And the next match is kind of not ready yet. But we'll try. Let's have an interesting discussion, because now we're going to talk about tag teams. So, Nikolai,
Yes.
prepare.
Yes.
Now
yes.
you can discuss with Mr. Bjørn, Sam.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have to say first, because there's a WrestleMania six-pack tag team ladder match SmackDown qualifier tournament, and on Friday they will have the two final matches. The four of the teams are ready. No, four. Judgment Day, DIY, Awesome Truth, and New Day. They are ready. And in the finals on Friday, Legado del Fantasma will meet New Catch Republic, and A-Town Down Under will meet the Street Profits. Let's start with, so now we have to predict. So it's going to be a bit difficult, but let's just try. Let's have fun. Legado del Fantasma and New Catch Republic. Who do you think will win that match, Nikolai?
I think we need some heel tag teams in that match as well. So I'm going with Legado.
Oh,
yeah. I
Bjørn?
cannot go for the New Catch Republic. Never.
Because
I
cannot go with a man with a too small. Looks like he's wearing a pair of underwear.
Okay. Ding ding ding.
I disagree on who's going to win. I do agree on the New Catch Republic. Unfortunately, looking much too comedic. But yeah. But I think that WWE has, well, actually Triple H has belief in both of the guys in New Catch Republic. Like I said on the last podcast, I think they should be singles wrestlers instead. But I think that they're going into the WrestleMania match.
So you say New Catch Republic, Bjørn?
Yep.
Okay, I think I agree with Nikolai. So that's Legado del Fantasma and New Catch Republic. So we have to discuss different scenarios here. It's late at night. A-Town Down Under versus the Street Profits. Bjørn?
I haven't got a clue. Well, let's say Street Profits.
Nikolai?
A-Town Down Under, because I think the Street Profits would go into a 3-on-3 match with Bobby Lashley against the most awful factions in many years, the Final Testament. Please let that match also be the final match.
That will probably be on the pre-show in that case of WrestleMania, because I don't think they're going to have that match on the main WrestleMania show either of the days.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, you might be right. That sounds logical to me.
So now we have kind of like 4 matches to discuss, because the Judgment Day, DIY, Awesome Truth, and the New Day. And then we have Legado del Fantasma, New Catch Republic, A-Town Down Under, and the Street Profits. Do you think that Legado, New Catch, A-Town, and the Street Profits has a chance? Nikolai?
No.
Or can we just write them off straight away?
Yes, no.
Yeah. We can write them off straight away.
Yeah,
we could. Yeah.
So it's kind of pointless to bring them into the discussion. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
So then we have the Judgment Day, DIY, Awesome Truth, and the New Day. Nikolai?
I can only go for one tag team that has stolen my heart, actually. Because I want a WrestleMania moment, and I want a great one, and I wish the best for R-Truth and the Miz. R-Truth needs his WrestleMania moment, and he will get it this year at WrestleMania by winning the tag team belts together with the Miz. But they will not hold it for long, but they will get and win the belts eventually. Or maybe the crazy thing actually that could happen is that you have R-Truth with one belt, and you have maybe Judgment Day with the other belt, so they split the belt, so R-Truth takes one belt down and celebrates, and he forgot the other one, and then maybe Damian Priest or Finn Balor goes up and pick the other one, and then they split the belts like that. But if we have to pick one, I say Awesome Truth, because they have everything going for it, all the storytelling going up to this match, the way that R-Truth is genius, like telling DIY to be DX and calling Shawn Michaels and Triple H and all that stuff. It's really, really great comic wrestler. But also we saw the last year on Raw, where he was a commentary. You saw him also coming into the ring where you saw Judgment Day wreaking havoc, beating down all the other teams. You saw him actually be a great, fantastic wrestler in ring, beating up some of the Judgment Day. So I hope my heart says Awesome Truth.
Mm.
And also because
sorry.
he said one thing, he said also the thing that I really pointed at was that he said he's afraid of ladders. So I think you will see a build-up towards this peaking point of the match where you see R-Truth overcoming his fear of climbing ladders and then go up and pick a belt, or maybe both.
Cool story. Yeah. Bjørn?
Yeah, I think that could absolutely have happened in the former regime. I think that this sounds very old school WWE, the whole story you presented. But this is not what I'm hoping as a fan will happen. I think that the Judgment Day will go away with the titles just because I can't see any of the other teams presented and elevating the tag team titles from this match. But unfortunately, the second most probable solution to this is that Awesome Truth wins it. I am not a fan of the Awesome Truth. I'm a fan of Ron Killings' early years, where he wasn't a comedy figure. I think he overdoes the comedy figure. I know it's really popular, but I have to disagree with his popularity very much because the way it makes people look at the product. It's like people who are really into the product can laugh at it and go, ah, ha, ha, this is just funny. But if we look at the bigger picture, we look at the way most other people that are not like hardcore wrestling fans, casual viewers that might like look at this for the first time or something, go in and check out, yeah, wrestling, yeah, this looks good, looks good. No, this is just stupid and a joke. So I think that characters that can be funny can be really good, but they have to be believable. I do not find R-Truth's antics believable whatsoever. They're insanely overdone. Miz is good as a heel. I like him better as a heel than as a face. And Miz and R-Truth, they could be a good heel tag team, in my opinion, if R-Truth was a heel and not such a over the board comedy figure. He could be a comical wrestler, definitely, but not overdone like he is. I mean, comical wrestlers who I think have worked throughout the years have been people like Terry Funk. He was a comical wrestler. Ric Flair was a comical wrestler in his ways. And
Doink the Clown.
Oh, I hate Doink the Clown. Oh
not
my
when
God.
he was evil. When he was evil, he was great.
I hated him as evil as well. I hated him from the first time they presented it. I mean, for years, I had defended wrestling from people who said, no, they're just clowns. Why do you watch that shit? It's just clowning. And it's like, no, they're not clowns. They're actually athletes. It might be that every match is actually predetermined, but these guys, they're tough, They're athletes. What they do is harder than most sports, and then comes the clown. Here actually came the clown. I was defending it, and the business was doing everything it could to destroy my arguments. It's like I wrestled people in doink costumes. I've wrestled. I've been pinned by someone in a doink costume, calling themselves Doink the Clown, giving me a pie to the face and then pinning me. This was not my proudest.
So you have actually a clown
This
trauma.
I do. This was not my proudest moment.
No.
I have nothing against the guy within the mask. He was just making a living. Great guy. He wrestled under that mask, and he wrestled another gimmick as well on the same show. But do I think this is smart for the product, to build the product to other fans, to get in more people to enjoy wrestling and understand wrestling and have respect for wrestling? Absolutely not.
Yes.
I have to tell you, Nikolai, Bjørn had a match in England, and he told the wrestler on the mic, in the ring, "You are stealing money from my family," because he used comedy elements.
Okay.
So Bjørn hates this.
Yes.
I can
The thing is as well, this guy is pretty new in the business. He's a rookie. And
The guy in England.
Yeah, the guy in England. And he thanked me for the best match he's ever had. His trainer thanked me for the best matches I ever had, and keeping him safe in the ring. And the people and the commentators thought I killed him in the match. And this was a good match, but I use my own personal feelings, my own thoughts and reality, and I twist it into the ring when I'm in positions like that. The promoter didn't know what I was going to say. He didn't even know I was going to take the microphone, but he loved what I did with it, so he went with it. And I got to say that it's like the guy who I wrestled, I have nothing against him, but I hope that I kind of enlightened him. Don't think I did, because he probably thought it was all an act, that I didn't mean any of it. Well, I just exaggerated. I just took something I thought and made it 100 times as big.
I'm Googling Bjørn Sem versus Doink. I want to watch that match.
I don't think it was filmed. I hope it wasn't filmed. I hope if there's anyone out there who has a film of that match, please burn it. Do me a favor. Not that it wasn't. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a bad match, but I was pinned by someone putting a pie in my face. I have nothing against getting pinned. I have nothing against putting someone over. Absolutely not. But could he have landed on me with an earthquake, sit-down splash or something? Just give me some things that can let me kind of save face that I was actually beaten by something, instead of being beaten by getting a custard pie in my face. Well, yeah, sorry, you had to experience my trauma here, and finally, we have disagreed about something.
Yes. Excellent. So the question is, as I very often say in this podcast, back to the question, Bjørn, who do you think will win the ladder match?
Oh,
maybe you answered the question earlier.
Yeah, I think I did, but Judgment Day.
Okay, Judgment Day. I have to say, I don't care about this match. I think it's going to be very entertaining. I loved last year on WrestleMania 39. I loved the four-way tag team match, the fatal four-way tag team match with Street Profits and Braun Strowman, Ricochet, Alpha Academy, and the Viking Raiders. I love that match. It was so much fun. But this match, I think I have to say, I think the steam is running out of the Judgment Day. I think New Day is just there to be entertaining. Same with DIY. I support Nikolai's theory here and say awesome truth. Awesome truth. Yeah, just because of the last championship that he is going to get, our truth. I think it's just going to be let the audience leave the building happy, or the arena happy. I don't care about the result. It could be anything. Yeah. So Nikolai and Anders, awesome truth. Bjørn, Judgment Day. Did you say why you think that is going to be Judgment Day? Because all the other teams are.
Yeah, because there's no point in pushing any of the other teams. And I don't think, well, of course, there's a point in pushing just about anyone you have on the roster. But I don't see anyone that should be pushed beyond what Judgment Day should be pushed. I think Judgment Day is the highest commodity they've got on in that match. And Priest is a commodity for the future. So since they don't have anything more interesting for him to do right now, keeping him as a tag team champion together with Finn Balor, that's at least something to keep him relevant.
I think he has something to do, Bjørn.
Ah.
No, I spent Bjørn. Oh, yeah. Okay. Please describe what Nikolai is showing us.
Nikolai is showing us a copy of the Money in the Bank briefcase, which is something Priest has, and the due date is actually WrestleMania, if I'm not wrong. So he kind of needs to use that Money in the Bank briefcase to try to get one of the championships.
But yeah, I don't think that it has a due date to WrestleMania. I think it can go on beyond that, because he wanted that. You have it for
Money
1
in the
year.
Bank.
Yeah, so he has until maybe at Money in the Bank to cash it in.
While in the past, the Money in the Bank stipulation expired at WrestleMania, the modern iteration of the contract stipulation sees it extended until the next titular premium live event. So he has, therefore, Damien Priest actually has another 4 months to cash in ahead of Money in the Bank 2024 in Toronto on July the 6th, 2024.
Okay.
No Money in the Bank.
Yeah, because I can't see that Priest is going to cash in the Money in the Bank against Cody and win from Cody. In that case, they would just have Priest run in, and Cody, just having finished his story against Roman Reigns, then win a smaller match against Priest. Well, if Priest doesn't win it there's actually no point in him cashing in the Money in the Bank. If Roman Reigns goes away with the title, they're both heels. Priest could cash in on Roman Reigns, turning Priest face. But if he does that, will the people be interested in Priest winning that title when the guy they were looking forward to so long in Cody Rhodes just lost or didn't win the title? I don't think so. And then you have Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, and it's kind of the same thing, but he could defeat Seth Rollins for it. But I don't think so. I can't see that being a huge deal for the people either. Maybe he can get some heat on it. Maybe he can become a main event player by doing it. But in that case, they should have built him up stronger going into WrestleMania. That's my opinion.
We can use one swear word each. Now I'm going to use mine. If they let Damon Priest run up to the ring and take the title from Cody Rhodes, that is going to be the biggest fuck you to the audience ever. So it's not going to happen. It's going to be worse than Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble in 15, 16, 17, something. It's going to be a disaster. Maybe he takes the title from Gunther. But it's no point using it on the Intercontinental title, or the championship. So, no, I think he's going to use it later. Yeah. But cool with the Money in the Bank suitcase, Nikolai. Cool.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Nikolai? We've steamrolled this. So, what do you actually think is going to happen?
When he cashes in, Damian Priest,
Yeah,
I think he will cash in on a lesser belt, the IC title or the US title. I don't see him being ready to be elevated towards one of the two belts, because either you're going to put it on Drew McIntyre, or Seth Rollins will retain. No way. Maybe Seth Rollins, but who knows? And I cannot see him in any way or any dream or anything going up against either Cody or Roman Reigns if they retain. It wouldn't be credible.
Who is the US champion right now? I can't find it on the card.
No one cares.
There isn't a US title match on the WrestleMania.
No, nobody cares.
Nikolai, who's the US title holder in WWE? Who's the champion right now? Oh, it's Logan Paul. It's Logan Paul. It's Logan Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That's right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Of course, we have a US title. Yeah, we have. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I said no one cares. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. People do care about that. I just forgot about it. Sorry.
This podcast is not sponsored by Prime. Okay, so next match. Next match is going to be. The next match is LA Knight versus AJ Styles. And I have to say, I love AJ Styles. I'm not as big as a fan as Bjørn is of LA Knight. I heard a Swedish podcast say that he's 80% one-liners or slogans. I don't know. I don't really care. It probably could be a cool match, but I will listen to you guys. Nikolai, LA Knight or AJ Styles?
AJ Styles. And I think because they are going to build AJ Styles up to be a creditable opponent to either maybe Drew or Cody for SummerSlam, because they need someone to be right up there. AJ Styles is, as he always say, phenomenal. So you can always put AJ Styles up there in the title picture without being a credible opponent, but still loses. So I think LA Knight does not need the win here. He needs a win later on. But I think AJ Styles will win this because the way it's built up, AJ Styles, if he's going to go heel, this is a win he must take. And they will have a great match. And I totally disagree with the Swedish podcast that LA Knight is one-line mecha. He has so much everything. If you saw the match against Roman Reigns, just see that one. If he's only a one-liner, how can he go for that long with Roman Reigns and still have a fantastic match? So maybe it's partly because of Roman Reigns, because he's an amazing wrestler and he delivers every time. But LA Knight is still a very good wrestler. It gives AJ Styles momentum, credibility to go into a title picture. So my pick is AJ Styles.
Bjørn?
I completely agree with the take on AJ Styles being phenomenal. He is phenomenal. He's a fantastic wrestler, and he deserves to get back in the hunt for a title. But I do disagree on who's going to win. It kind of seems too obvious that LA Knight would win this match, and thereby they might make a switch. And because AJ Styles seems to be switching to, he has switched to heel now. He kind of needs a early victory in his heel run to really cement himself in the heel position, but LA Knight has gotten such a following by fans and is a fantastic worker. He has been a worker for a really long time. He's been in wrestling for a really long time. He's a really good wrestler. But if WWE is going to use his full potential at a future date, well, there's not really too many years left in the tank of LA Knight. He's not a young man. So both him and AJ Styles have been around for a long time, even though LA Knight hasn't been in WWE for a long time. So I think they're going to use the talent that they have not seen in their main event picture in earlier years. I think they're going to go with LA Knight, and I think he's going to be someone who can wrestle for one of the two titles in future, probably against whoever's a heel, because I don't think they're going to switch him heel anytime soon, but they might. He's, from what I've seen earlier in his career, just as good a heel character back when he was Eli Drake, not when he was a model in WWE, but back when he was Eli Drake, he was just as good as a heel as he was as a face, in my opinion. So I think that LA Knight is going to win that match and go on in a program against either Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre.
I think LA Knight, because I think AJ Styles, he can lose, no problem, and still be great. But I think if LA Knight loses, if LA Knight loses, they're kind of burying him. Because then he's kind of not finished, but because they were pushing him, and then Cody, and then not Cody, but then CM Punk, and then The Rock. And what are they doing with LA Knight? I think he has to win, or else he's not finished, but finished in anførselstegn. Quotation marks, exactly. Excellent. So Nikolai, Styles, Bjørn, Knight, LA Knight, and Anders LA Knight. Do you want to say anything more about that match, Nikolai?
Well, I think we have a few matches left, so we should probably move on.
We will. I think we will. Next match is Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Bjørn.
I don't care, but Yeah, they're probably not going to swerve us on this one. So it's probably going to be main event Jay Uso who's going to win the match. And to be perfectly honest, and I think we should be honest, I'm not really looking forward to this match. I don't think it's going to be live up to the hype. I don't think those two brothers are going to be as good at wrestling each other as a Bret and Owen Hart or basically many other great matches we've seen throughout the years, even though they know each other better than anybody else knows each other. I just don't see that they have that um, chemistry going against each other. I think they have better chemistry as a tag team than they have going against each other. I'm not against it that they split up because their tag team shtick was kind of done. It's gone too so long. Maybe the match ends up with someone winning and the other one hugging, whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't really care. They're not the ones who excite me the most in WWE, to be perfectly honest.
So your pick is Jay Uso.
Yeah, why not?
Nikolai?
Double countdown.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think they will beat the hell out of each other, and you need them to be a little bit fresh for maybe later on the other night too. I think they will be a very great part of that match, but I think you need this feud to develop a little bit more if it's going to be interesting. As Bjørn said, at first, I do not care, but let's make this feud. Let us care about this feud. So give them a double count out because they really hate each other and they're more committed to beating the other one than actually winning the match. So you save this match and give it a proper build up, maybe SummerSlam or like that, and then you can actually have the match because there's so much going on at the 2 nights of WrestleMania. So this is a good match. Maybe they have talked about getting that WrestleMania moment, but maybe give them a time in the sun instead and give them a proper match. Maybe no holds bar or anything where they could really have more time and more focus on that match because as you said, Bjørn, early on, this is The Rock and Roman's and Cody's show this year. So give them time to build. Yeah. So I'm saying a double count out.
My prediction was Jimmy because of the story, because of another match on day 2. We're going to talk about that later, but I think that match is going to be what's it called? A bloodline match? Bloodline rules match? Something like that? Bloodline rules.
Yeah. We haven't
no,
had
I know.
Yeah. Match yet.
Yeah. So, but I think I have to agree with Nikolai because that's also a good way to kind of tell that story as part of the bloodline story. Make it a double count out. They can it's blood evening, good evening, bloodline rules. And they can all be around the ring. Probably. So then we have 4 matches left, guys, and the 7th match of the undercard, isn't it called undercard, is Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens in a triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship. Bjørn, you can start this one.
All right. I think that the reason this is a triple threat match is because they want to keep certain people strong. So I think actually that they're gonna let someone else take the US Championship off of Logan Paul. And he has done a wonderful job as a heel champion. So I think the only reason they want to do that is because Logan Paul probably has some promotional material he needs to work on that keeps him away from wrestling for a short time until he comes back. And then comes the question, who's going to take the title? It's going to be Randy Orton or Kevin Owens. Now, I think that I think that Randy Orton is not going to be the U.S. champion because he's a main eventer, and that would seem like a step down. I don't think he would want to take that championship. And I think that either Owens is going to turn heel and screw Randy Orton, or Logan Paul is going to screw Randy Orton, and that whoever screws Randy Orton so that Kevin Owens wins, that's going to be the one feud we're going to have going forward. Because there's two faces and a heel in this match. Randy Orton is a face right now, and Kevin Owens is a face right now. Both will work just as well as heels, and they could have a great feud against each other going out of this for the U.S. Championship, and Owens versus Logan Paul, that's kind of done. So Randy Orton with a delayed feud against Logan Paul for the future, that's not about the U.S. title, that could also be a possibility. Either way, Kevin Owens goes away the U.S. champion.
Nikolai?
I could not disagree more. I think actually this setup with the three-way is to keep Randy Orton. I agree on that one. Keep Randy Orton looking strong, but let Kevin Owens take the pin from Logan Paul, because I think he will retain. I think he has done a tremendous job. He will keep on doing it. He has to have something to do before his brother is going to have this match against Mike Tyson. So keep him in the title picture, keep him there where he does his good stuff. He has a lot of people he can meet still. I think the one to take the belt off Logan Paul is going to be LA Knight, but in the future, but not now. Maybe LA Knight will take it off at SummerSlam. I think that's a good possibility there. You have a lot of time to do a build up there, but I think Logan Paul will retain, and he will do it with his famous brass knuckles, because in one way or the other, the referee will get distracted, and then he can hit another perfect punch to get Kevin Owens to get pinned. 1, 2, 3. You keep Randy Orton fresh. You keep him looking strong, and is ready to move up to against maybe Seth or Cody Roman in the near future, or Drew as well.
So you could actually have disagreed more.
Yeah,
that would have been possible.
yeah. Sorry, yeah. Okay,
That's all right. That's all right.
You get that one, Bjørn. You get that one. But we have to build up a little bit of tension here. So
yeah, absolutely.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be the heel now.
me or you?
Yeah. We
So
can decide
Nikolai,
that after the one.
All right.
So Nikolai, you picked Logan Paul.
Yes, exactly.
I agree with Nikolai. I think Logan Paul, because Randy Orton doesn't need a title. Kevin Owens doesn't need a title. Well, you can say in a way, Logan Paul doesn't need the title, but he's a great heel champion. I think he is so entertaining, and so I think he's, well, amazing is a strong word, but I really, really like Logan Paul in the ring. It looks like he really respects the business. And because of the Prime advertising and everything on the ring and everything, I think, I would say Logan Paul.
One thing I forgot to mention is I think actually this year KSI is going to have a more decisive factor in this match, because why should they bring him in the last time when they announced, with the Prime bottle? I think KSI is going to be a factor in this match as well, with some interference there as well. He could be the factor to distract the referee, but
interesting. So Nikolai picked Logan Paul, Bjørn picked Kevin Owens, and I picked Logan Paul. Now, gentlemen, the main events, and we'll start with Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. I'll start this one. I think, no doubt, Drew McIntyre. He's amazing right now at everything he does. All the small things. Stopping a car, playing what's the song called? Cult of Personalities, drawing a mustache on the some pictures and everything. He's so amazing, and he doesn't need the push, but he's so amazing right now. He became the champion during the COVID years, and he deserves to just be the champion and just rule the world, kind of now. So I will say Drew McIntyre.
That's
Nikolai?
actually a song from Take That, Rule the World. So
great
reference there.
everybody wants to rule the world. Amazing. Tears for Fears.
Yeah, Tears for Fears.
That's
Take
Tears
That
for
also,
Fears.
but Take That has also something with the rule the world.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But should I take this one now?
Yes, please.
I will say exactly the same as you, Anders.
Mm.
You have said everything there is to say. The promos, the build-up, the storyline, everything points at Drew. And please let the Scottish psychopath wreak some havoc because he will make a great champion taking over from Seth to wreak havoc, to be dominant. He has been built up as this dominant factor, scary one that really poses a threat to everyone on the roster at the moment. So I think Drew is ready to take the step up to be a world champion and to put some prestige and respect to build upon what Seth Rollins has been doing until now. So I think it's Drew time.
I
Bjørn?
completely agree. It's time for Seth Rollins to lose that championship, and it's time to really use Drew McIntyre for what he's worth, and he's worth being in a championship position in WWE. He is firing on all cylinders again, and I'm a huge fan of Drew McIntyre. What he did in NXT, what he did on the independents before NXT, and now he has finally found his own voice once again, something he lacked for a long time in the main roster, but it's time. It's really time, and I'm looking forward to this match. Because they're two amazing wrestlers, and I think that they can put on a great match. And the only right decision, in my opinion, is to have Drew McIntyre raise the title at the end of this match.
The only thing that will not it's not going to happen that Drew does not win the title, it means that Drew McIntyre has not renewed his contract with the WWE. That's the only thing that will not put the belt on Drew.
Agree. So
Yep, me too.
Drew. Yeah. And then the Bloodline on day night 1, the Bloodline, The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins in a tag team match. If Rhodes and Rollins win, all members of the Bloodline will be barred from ringside during the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match on night 2.
Heavyweight champion Universal.
Did I say it? Yeah.
No, I'm just joking, Anders. I'm just joking because that name is so long you could actually get tired before saying it.
Yeah.
All the way to the end.
And if Rock and Reigns win, the championship match on night 2 will be held under Bloodline rules. And it looks like Bloodline rules means no disqualification. Anything goes. I read something funny on the internet, on Facebook, I think it was, earlier today. And because the story is amazing right now. And on Raw on Monday, amazing. But there's something strange about this match because it's The Rock, it's Roman Reigns, and it's Cody. And then I read this joke on Facebook. This Rock versus Cody feud has been incredible. Can't wait to see who Roman Reigns is feuding with on the road to WrestleMania. Because where's Roman Reigns? He's standing in the background. It's all about Cody and The Rock. So you could say it probably night 2 in a way should be Cody and The Rock. I know it's the storyline and everything, but it's a bit strange because it's almost like they're building up a match that isn't going to happen. It isn't planned. Nikolai?
There's a lot of stuff going on in that feud, and we could actually maybe do a whole podcast episode just about that feud until now. But I think there's some very interesting key factors here. They brought The Rock in for a purpose. And I think The Rock's purpose in the tag team match is going to be that he will pin Cody Rhodes. Because The Rock is, as he's pointing out, time and time again, and I love it, the final boss.
Yeah.
I love that one.
It's amazing.
I'm sometimes I feel like I have this joystick or joypad in my hand and I can move him around in Street Fighter, and I'm Cody Rhodes. Oh, take this Rock, take that one. Oh. But I think if you're going to have this feud explode, you have to have The Rock getting the win here for the team, pinning Cody Rhodes, because then he can go on say, well, because I think Roman Reigns will lose. Well, you couldn't beat Cody Rhodes. I did. So that will devaluate Roman Reigns even more and continue the one thing that you just pointed out, Anders, that Roman Reigns does now look weak, and Rock can tap into that going forward with a story saying, well, you look weak all the way through this feud, and I'm the real head of the table and the tribal chief. So he can strip Roman Reigns for everything and take the feud going forward against Cody Rhodes, and then be that final boss. So I think the best way is that The Rock won the battle on Monday Night Raw. He beat the hell out of Cody. And I love the way with, look, Mama Rhodes, look, it's Cody's blood. And after the tag team match, I will put your tears on it as well. Yes. Oh, I love that one. And if you saw it, it was a white leather belt. So the blood was very, very clear. That was the one thing that he missed when he first pulled out the belt with the Brahma Bull. It was in light brown leather color or something like that. So you couldn't really really see the blood. So The Rock is on fire. I love him. You can see he really enjoys it. But I think also one thing that's interesting about The Rock and this going forward, a lot of people are still cheering and popping for The Rock when he comes out and booing him on the way out of the arena. And he has to be really, really a badass heel beating up Cody. So to make sure that people really hate him. But so I think the best way that we have this all-out war on night 2, where you can take the Bloodline will come in, and Seth Rollins maybe also, and maybe some other Jey Uso and a lot of other stuff. I think we'll just see everyone coming in this all-out chaos match. But what about you, Bjørn? What do you think about this setup with the tag team match?
Yeah, I think actually that you're right. I think that The Rock will be the one who gets the pin. The only reason that I could see it going any other way is if they were too afraid of there being a backlash that, since he's one of the high up muckety mucks in WWE right now, that him winning a main event at a WrestleMania night would be seen as an abuse of power. But in storyline, this is the smart way to go. The smart way to go is exactly like you said, him being a final boss. But I think that if he feuds with Cody, that's on his way to feuding with Roman. His story will go on to feuding with Roman, either after WrestleMania or after he's had a feud after WrestleMania with Cody. And like Seth Rollins should not lose before his match with Drew McIntyre the next day. Cody should not lose before his match with Roman the next day, but that's an acceptable sacrifice because he's going to win the next day and he can get screwed. Roman should definitely not lose the day before he loses his title. And if he loses on that tag team match, the way that wrestling booking is unfortunately very often thought of, that would mean that he would win the next day at WrestleMania, which I absolutely hope that he won't do. Unfortunately, I had to spoil my prediction for the final match right now by saying what I was thinking about the tag team match, but I don't think any of you are surprised at this take. So Roman Reigns, in my opinion, should not take the pinfall in this match. It's the final match of the first night, so there should be a not clean win, but some decisive victory. And by having a decisive victory, you would then either have to pin The Rock or have the Rock lose or have Cody lose. And I think that The Rock pinning Cody is the smart decision. I think that strange as it might seem, would elevate The Rock to being the final boss, whilst Cody is not elevated by the tag team match, by victory there. He is elevated by winning the title the next day. So it doesn't really matter If he wins the night before, it only matters if we get him a good story on the night before. I think he should be screwed for the victory, because he shouldn't look weak right before the title win the next day. But The Rock winning that match sets up a feud, sets up The Rock to feud with both Cody and later on, preferably later on, but at any rate, at some point, feuding with Roman. Yeah.
Nikolai?
Well, Bjørn, for once again, we actually agree, because I think the end game here, as people are a lot of talking about the Avengers or so on, I don't think we're at the end game now, because the end game in all of this is The Rock and Roman Reigns eventually setting The Rock. The Rock will retire after that match officially. Actually, I think that's where The Rock, because he wants to send Roman Reigns, gives Roman Reigns a beautiful moment, probably. So Roman Reigns will maybe turn face again, who knows, after a hideout for a long time. They might try that again, because now he has been built totally different, and because he could get some sympathy, because going up against The Rock, going up against the final boss that eventually screwed him in one way or the other, might give Roman Reigns the momentum that he needs going face. But I think also that the tag team that wins on night one, the other one will lose at night two, because if Cody and Seth wins, we will get screwed on night two, and Roman Reigns will retain and go on to beat the record of Hulk Hogan. So it depends on if they're so focused, and they have been in the past, so focused on beating records, so focused on setting new standards. This could be the only argument for Roman Reigns to keep the belt, and if he does, then you cannot build 1 year more on Cody finishing the story. Then will be a joke. So I'm curious, but I think Cody will win. That's my pick for night two.
Yeah, as you both heard, that's my pick as well. And the time is now. The time is now to pull the trigger on Cody. I said that last year as well. But if they, like you said, Nikolai, if they wait another year, then his momentum will be gone. He will go down the card, and they'll struggle to get him back up to the most popular wrestler. Right now, he is on fire, and they have built a main event face that they can carry the ball with going forward. This is more important than breaking a record.
And also, one thing that's actually important in that picture, they need the baby face, or the baby face going forward, and they do not have anyone else than Cody. So they will actually bury a lot of stuff that they have built up if they do not pull the trigger at Cody now. Then it will be a gun loaded with blanks. They will be going to firing blanks, because they do not have a baby face that all the heels can go up against. LA Knight is not. Yeah, LA Knight could be, but he's not.
Yeah, he was on his way. He was on his way to becoming that, but so many things happened in between, so that they lost focus on him. It didn't, and it's not as hot as it was. I think they can build it back up to that. He can become that again. But I completely agree with you, Nikolai, that the safe bet they have right now, their ace of
Spades.
spades.
Yeah.
Yep, is Cody Rhodes, and they would be foolish to throw away that card.
Yeah, and exactly. They will have a very bad hand because
Yep.
they need to build one before he can substitute for Cody. You have to have another baby face, and you could use the time now when Cody feuding with different people to build up maybe LA Knight. That's also a very good bet on who's going to be the maybe second baby face at the company at the moment. Or maybe
We're
Jey
agreeing.
Uso. Maybe Jey Uso because he's so over. Yeah, I know you don't like him, but he's
No,
very
no, no,
much
no.
over.
He is over, but I don't think he's that much over. So we might disagree there, but I don't think he has the staying power that a Cody Rhodes or an LA Knight has. I've never met him personally, Jey Uso. I he's probably a really really nice guy, but I do not think he has the it factor to carry the company, to be that going forward. So, do I want him to fail? Do I dislike the man personally? Definitely not. I'd like him to do fine, and I'd like that match to have interest for me, him going against his twin brother. But the reason why I'm not interested in it is because, to me at least, the roles have been kind of played out, or you could say that the feud between them has not been hot as of late. So it doesn't seem like that has the potential to really be the main event player going forward, because in case he was, I think we would all be more interested in that match than we really are. Even though WWE has not played up to that match as much as they really should have.
I agree on that, Bjørn, but I don't see Jey Uso as the main eventer on the two top belts as the two
Yeah.
world heavyweight champions. I see him as a main eventer on the US title or the IC title. There he could be a main eventer. So depending on how you interpret main event, you could.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't put him over Logan or Günther if I had the choice between keeping the titles on Logan Paul or Günther. I'd rather put the titles on any of them, because I think there's more money in both of them, and I think that they're both, well, they both entertain me more. And I'm a huge fan of Günther, but I do completely agree with you that he could have great feuds with Logan Paul. He can have great feuds with Günther, and that could be much more interesting matches to me than seeing Jimmy versus Jay.
So, Bloodline versus Seth and Cody. All of us says Rock and Roman, right? Totally agree. And Roman Reigns versus Cody. We all say or pick Cody.
Yes.
Yes. So let's see here. Io Sky versus Bailey. Nikolai picked Sky. Bjørn picked Sky, and I picked Bailey. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Ripley. Günther versus Sami Zayn. Günther.
Yeah.
The ladder match with all the teams. Nikolai said Awesome Truth. Bjørn picked Judgment Day, and I picked Awesome Truth. LA Knight versus AJ Styles. Nikolai picked Styles. Bjørn picked LA Knight, and I picked LA Knight. Jay Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Bjørn picked Jay. Nikolai said double countout, and I agreed. Double countout. Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. Nikolai said Logan Paul. Bjørn picked Kevin Owens. I picked Logan Paul. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Drew. The Bloodline versus Seth and Cody. The Bloodline. And Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Cody.